Okay, continuing here in the Congress module, we're on slide number 41, talking about challenges for senators, okay? If you're gonna run for Senate, you're kind of in the big leagues, okay? So you're running up against some pretty high-ranking politicians, like you know, perhaps the governor's running against you because it's a prize spot, or an attorney general, okay? And so, you know, these opponents have the voter base, they have campaign organizations, they got fundraising ability, they got public, you know, recognition and the credentials to run a very, very strong campaign. And so Senate seats lure very wealthy challengers. Remember, at least $20 million to win a Senate seat, you know, maybe more, okay? And so, you know, you got to realize that with senators. House incumbents have less reason to fear strong challengers. Why? A House seat is not attractive enough to induce a prominent local politician, such as a mayor or a state legislature, to risk taking on the incumbent, okay? So as a result, most House incumbents face very, very weak opponents, okay? Another threat to congressmen, slide number 42, is what they call these super PACs, okay? These are, again, political action committees and all of the funding that come in, okay? So vulnerable incumbents face contributors from outside the state or district who target that particular race, okay? So there's lots of money coming in from the outside, okay? It's larger now and it's more significant now because of the capacity for political action committees to basically spend millions and millions of dollars. Again, if you're gonna run for public office, you need to have some serious funding, okay? You know, it would be nice to have the luxury of a President Trump to have billions of dollars. Again, I don't believe he's even taking a salary as president, which, again, it's neither here nor there. But the point is, you know, to not have to worry about funding is interesting. You know, it'd be a nice luxury to have. Okay, the next few slides I'm going to kind of go over these kind of quickly here, but these are kind of the characteristics of Congress, okay? If you go to slide number 43, you can see kind of the various characteristics of congressmen, okay? In other words, the age, the average age of the U.S. population is about 36, 37 years old. If you're a House member, you're about 61 years old. In the Senate, you're 59 years old. Again, you can see, you can go through all of that. It's just kind of interesting. You know, the various different, you know, demographics and religious affiliations and things of that nature. If you look at slide number 44, again, you can see the House, as far as the percentage of individuals in the House and Senate that are women, okay? You can see the diversity in Congress in slide number 45, occupation in slide number 46. Okay, you can see that you know, many of the individuals that are in public office or in the Congress already have been serving in public office for a significant amount of time, or they're from the business sector, or they're from the legal sector. Okay, you can just kind of take a look at that. And then you can look at some of the religious affiliations of the various members of Congress. Okay, by far the Roman Catholic is the largest, and then some form of Protestant is lesser, and you can kind of take a look at the breakdowns there. Again, slide number 48, ages of members of Congress, and slide number 49, members of minorities within Congress. Again, why are some of these important? Because, again, if you've got a good Congress, it should represent the people and represent the people's interests. Okay, that's why they show these demographics here. Again, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you represent the people in your district, you can be a good congressman or a congresswoman. It shouldn't matter. Okay. If you look at slide number 50, again, you can see this was the 115th Congress. You can see, you know, the amount of Republicans and Democrats. It's since changed in the 116th Congress, where you've got, you know, the Democrats have a majority, okay? All right, you can just kind of familiarize yourself with that, you know, later if you'd like. Okay, let's move on here to slide number 51. Okay, parties and party leadership. Again, the United States system has a bicameral legislature, okay? 2 chambers. Got the upper level, which is the Senate. The lower level is the House of Representatives. okay? At the start of each 2-year congressional term, party members in each chamber meet to elect their party leaders within their particular, the chamber of the Congress, okay? And so they also have something called a party caucus. These are party members that meet periodically in closed session to plan strategy, to develop issues and resolve policy differences. And so, again, I'm going to go over some of this stuff somewhat quickly here. But if you skip over to slide number 53, again, you can see examples of these. Forgive me, some of these are older pictures, okay, from the previous Congress, but you can get an idea here generally of what we're talking about when we're talking about party leadership in the different chambers of the Congress, okay? Within the House of Representatives, you've got someone called the Speaker of the House. That's the highest leadership position in the House of Representatives. It's a member of the majority party. They're third in line from the presidency. So you've got the president. If something happens to the president, the vice president takes over. If something happens to the vice president, the Speaker of the House takes over. Okay, so very significant role, a very significant politician in our system. Okay, they preside over the House in session. They assign bills to committees. They assign committee positions. They influence which bills are debated. Okay, they can limit the amount of time you can speak. So it's a very powerful position. Okay, you also have in the House, if you go to slide number 54, you've got a House Majority Leader. Okay, they're a floor leader of the majority party. They're the assistant to the Speaker of the House. They schedule bills, on the House calendar. They lead the party to vote. Okay, you can see that there. You can see also what's called the House Majority Whip. Why are they called the whip? Because they're trying to keep the people within their party, on pace and on point to vote when they need to vote in the way the party wants them to vote, things of that nature. Okay, they're a messenger between party leaders. They make sure party members are present to vote. And if there's undecideds, they will work on them. Okay, so again, they're an important role. You look at the House Minority Leader. Again, they're showing Nancy Pelosi, but again, now she's the Majority Leader, okay? It's not, the House Minority Leader is the highest leadership position of the minority party in the House. They're the floor leader for the minority. And then you can move on here to slide number 57, the House Minority Whip. Again, they do the exact same thing as the Majority Whip, trying to make sure people vote. If people are undecided, okay, they try to get them to, move in favor of what the party wants. Okay, so the conversely now go up to the upper chamber, to the Senate. Okay, in the Senate, the Majority Leader is the most important in the party leadership, and comparable to the House Speaker. Okay. They resemble the Speaker of the House in that the Senate Majority Leader formulates the majority party's legislative agenda and encourages party members to support it. Okay, they chair party policy committees and they act as the party's voice in the chambers. And then you've got a Majority Whip that does the same thing like as in the House, making sure people vote, making sure the undecideds become decided. Okay, and you can see some examples here. Okay, you can see the Senate Majority Leader, which is Mitch McConnell then and currently. Okay, and you see the Senate Minority Leader. Okay, Chuck Schumer in the Senate. Okay, so again, comparable positions there, but by far the Speaker of the House is more powerful in what that position entails than the Majority Leader within the Senate. Okay, so here's some examples of this if you go to slide number 61. So why Senate Majority Leader's position is less powerful than the Speaker of the House. Unlike the Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader is not the chamber's presiding officer. Actually, the Vice President presides over the Senate. If there's some sort of a tie, they can preside over it and they can break a tie. Okay, so they rarely attend the sessions. Okay, so it's usually the Majority Leader doing most of the leading, but technically the VP is the leader of the Senate. Okay, in the absence of the VP, the President Pro Tem, which is the temporary president, has the right to preside over the Senate. By tradition, the majority party's most senior member serves as President Pro Tem. It's largely an honorary position. Okay, there's no real power there. Third, unlike the House, the Senate has a tradition of unlimited debate. Okay, So any senator who wishes to speak on a bill can continue to do so. The Speaker of the House can, hey, listen, I'm going to grant you 5 minutes. At the end of that 5 minutes, you're done. Okay? Is that powerful? Sure. You know, if you're a Democrat, you're gonna allow people in your party to speak more than perhaps the minority party. Okay. Fourth of all, the Senate Majority Leader's power is limited by the fact that individual senators have more power and freedom of action than do individual House members. Okay. So you can see examples of the composition of the Senate in 2017. Okay. If you go to slide number 62, you can kind of see that there. Okay. And again, you can see additional differences between the House and the Senate in slide number 63. Okay. In the House of Representatives, they initiate all revenue bills. They must pass an article of impeachment, whereas the Senate must give advice and consent to many presidential nominations. The House cannot do that. The Senate must approve treaties. The House cannot do that. The Senate can try impeached officials. Okay. Again, you can take a look at the comparison there. I'm not going to read all that for you, but you can check that out and see the comparison and the contrast. Again, the Senate is the more elevated of the two. Okay. The framers thought that the House would be more emotional, more rambunctious. Okay. Whereas the Senate was more, usually we had older members, so it's more mature. You'd have more reasoned judgment in the Senate. Okay. Okay, moving on to slide number 64. Let's talk about committees and committee membership. Most of the work in Congress is done through the committees, the standing committees, which are permanent committees that are responsible for particular areas of public policy, because they've got a judicial committee, and they've got committees dealing with national security and things of that nature. So obviously, if you can get on some of these more important committees, you're a much more powerful member of Congress. Okay. Standing committees have legislative authority. They can draft legislation and recommend to the full chamber for passage. Subcommittees are within that standing committee. Okay. And they're a defined jurisdiction of 12 members. Then you've got select committees. Okay. They're designated responsibility, but unlike standing committees, they cannot produce legislation. And then you've got joint committees, which are members of both houses that perform advisory functions. Okay, I'm not going to belabor these too difficultly. Okay, or too long on that, because I don't think you need to remember all of this in exquisite detail. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and we'll resume with slide number 65 next.